Dear students, today's topic is Law of Conservation of Angular Momentum. What is angular momentum? The momentum possessed by a particle in rotational motion. When a particle is in rotational motion, its momentum is called angular momentum. Momentum, it is the quantity of motion possessed by the particle or the body. And we define the moment of angular momentum as moment of linear momentum about a fixed point about which the particle is in motion. So the angular momentum is moment of linear momentum. Suppose there is a particle of mass m which is at a distance of r from the origin, from a fixed point. Then let p vector be its linear momentum, then angular momentum denoted as L vector given by R vector cross P vector. The angular momentum is the cross product of position vector and the linear momentum vector. That is, L vector is R vector cross P vector. R cross P is Rp sin theta. It is by definition Rp sin theta. Theta, angle between R vector and P vector. Suppose R and P are at right angles to each other, perpendicular to each other. Then theta is 90, so that L becomes R into P and P is mv, so that L equal to R into mv, that is mvr. The expression for angular momentum magnitude, it is mvr. M mass, v, the linear velocity of the particle, r is the distance of the particle from the fixed point. And we know the relationship between the linear speed v and angular speed omega, v equal to r omega. If substitute that, we get L as m r square omega. This is another expression for angular momentum of a particle. Omega is angular velocity, r distance of the particle from the fixed point or from the origin. This is about angular momentum. Now, conservation of angular momentum. Conservation means angular momentum remains constant. When? At what condition? In the absence of the applied torque. Say, in case of linear motion, force is required to overcome the inertia. Inertia, tendency of a body to remain in the same state. To overcome inertia in linear motion means motion along a straight line. Force should be applied on the particle, then only that particle changes its state, either state of rest or state of uniform motion. That changes only when force acts on it. In a similar manner, when the particle is in rotational motion, say circular motion, uniform circular motion or circular motion is an example for, or it is a special case of rotational motion. We already discussed in our previous classes. So when the particle is in uniform circular motion, so to change the state, when the particle is in rotational motion, to change the state of the particle, what's required? It is torque. Torque is one which overcomes inertia in rotational motion. So, in the absence of the applied torque, when there is no torque, then the angular momentum of the particle always remains constant. This is called conservation of angular momentum. In the absence of the applied torque, angular momentum of the particle remains constant. This is conservation of angular momentum. To show this, the angular momentum is conserved in the absence of the applied torque. Consider the angular momentum. Definition of angular momentum, L vector equal to R cross P. Now, differentiate both sides. That is dl vector by dt. That is d by dt of R vector cross P vector. Now, differentiate. Apply the product rule. That is differentiation of the first factor into the second plus first factor into differentiation of the second one. So, dr vector by dt cross P vector plus R vector cross dp vector by dt. See, that is dr vector by dt into what is P vector? mv vector. Linear momentum is mv plus r vector cross dp vector by dt, rate of change of momentum, nothing but force. So we get dl vector by dt as this. P is mv vector, dp vector by dt, rate of change of linear momentum, nothing but force. It is another definition of force. Now, simplify that. See here, dr vector by dt into mv vector. So m constant. So we write it as, see here, dr vector by dt, nothing but v, rate of change of position, velocity. So we write it as v vector cross mv vector. So v cross mv vector plus r cross f. See, that is m constant. So this term becomes m into v cross v plus r cross f. V cross v, it is 0. Why? Because v cross v is vv sine theta, and the angle between the two vectors v and v, parallel vectors, theta is 0, so that sine theta, sine 0, 0, this becomes 0. So that dl vector by dt is r cross f, and this r cross f is called as the torque. Cross product of r and f is called the torque. So dl vector by dt equal to tau. Tau is the torque. What is torque? The torque is one which overcomes inertia in rotational motion. When applied torque is 0, that is if tau 0, dl vector by dt equal to 0. And if this is 0, this is possible only when L is a constant. Hence, L vector is a constant. Angular momentum is conserved. Angular momentum constant means angular momentum is conserved when the applied torque is 0. This is conservation of angular momentum. Now, next is aerial velocity. Whenever a particle is in circular motion or in rotational motion, in xy plane, a particle in rotational motion, say, suppose a particle starts from here, starts moving at certain instant. This is the position of the particle, say P, denoted by the position vector R. Then after some time it moves to another position, and this way it moves along a curved path. Now, aerial velocity means, suppose this is the next position, say P dash. Then, when the particle moves from P to P dash, it has covered this much area. Then, if this area is covered in 1 second, then that is called as aerial velocity. Then the velocity of the particle is called as aerial velocity. The area covered by the position vector, say area covered by this position vector in 1 second per second. Area covered by the position vector of the particle per second. See, this is the position vector. Suppose it covers this much area, it moves to P dash in 1 second. Then this is the area covered in 1 second. Then that area covered in 1 second is called aerial velocity. Now, central force. The central force is one which is acting on the particle with respect to a fixed point. Force acting on the particle either away from that fixed point or towards the fixed point. Suppose a force acting on the particle. Say this is the particle. There is a fixed point, say O. This is the particle. The force, it may act towards the fixed point or it may act away from the fixed point along this line. This force acting on this particle directed towards or away from a fixed point. And magnitude of the force depends only on this distance. The magnitude of that force depends only on the distance from the point. Distance of the particle from the point. And such a force is called a central force. So central force, force acting on the particle, either acting towards a fixed point or away from a fixed point. And that magnitude depends only on distance of the particle from the fixed point. Such a force is called a central force. And the space where, the region where the particle experiences a central force is called central force field. And in such a case, the particle is said to be having central motion. The motion of the particle in central force field is called as central motion. So now, how to represent a central force? See the same example here, particle here, and fixed point O, the position vectors are the particle at a distance r from this fixed point. Then we represent the central force as F vector is given by the representation of the central force F of r. It is written as magnitude and unit vector. F of r represents the magnitude. R cap is the unit vector. So we represent a central force like this. Here F of r, this is a scalar function. Here force function of a scalar. And here it is positive. And so here when F of r is positive, then in that case the force is always acting away from the fixed point. The force acting away from the fixed point. Or if F of r is like this, if you represent the central force like this, here minus r cap, what it says, the direction is towards the fixed point. In that case, the force is towards the center, and this force is called as the towards the center means attractive force, away from the center means repulsive force. This is about the representation of the central force. Now, to show that when the force is a central force, angular momentum is conserved. To show that under central force, angular momentum of the particle is always conserved. Angular momentum conserved means angular momentum of the particle always remains constant. This happens only when in case of a central force. Now consider a central force. How do we represent? F of r as F of r, r cap, representation of a central force. Now let us define torque. Definition is r vector cross F vector. Torque is defined as r cross F. See, that is r cross F is the central force. So it is represented like F of r, r cap. F, the central force represented like this. So, and we write this as r vector cross F of r into, see here, we multiply and divide by r. 1 r in the numerator, 1 r in the denominator. So actually no change in the value. So that this r cap, what's r cap? Nothing but r vector. Any vector can be written as the product of its magnitude and the unit vector. So that r cap is r vector. So 1 r comes in the denominator. So this term becomes like this. See, that is F of r by r. This is a scalar. F of r scalar, this is also scalar. So that you can write this as F of r by r into r vector cross r vector. What's r vector cross r? Again 0. r sine theta, theta 0. So r cross r is 0. So what we get? Tau vector is 0. What is tau? Rate of change of angular momentum. Another definition. Tau is defined as either r cross f or rate of change of angular momentum. So that dl vector by dt is 0. This is 0 only when L is a constant. So that L vector is a constant. Thus, under central force, the angular momentum is always conserved, or angular momentum remains constant. This is the proof. Next is Kepler's laws of planetary motion. There are 3 laws. Kepler's laws explain the motion of the planets around the sun in the elliptical orbit. The planets revolve around the sun in elliptical orbits. Different planets revolve in different orbits, different elliptical orbits. And the path is an ellipse. So there are 2 focus points. Here sun is taken at one of the foci. So, and the line joining the sun to the planet is called the radius vector. So, Kepler's laws of planetary motion explains the motion of the planets around the sun in the elliptical orbit. The first law, what it says, every planet moves in an elliptical orbit with the sun being at one of its foci. The planets move around the sun, keeping sun at one of the foci. And see, this is the major axis, this is the minor axis. And we denote major axis as 2a, minor axis as 2b. And this is first law. Second law, and the first law is also called as law of orbits. First law states about the orbit of the planet around the sun. What about the shape and how the planet moves around the sun? So it is law of orbits. Second law is law of areas. Law of areas. The law says The radius vector, what the second law says is, the radius vector drawn from the planet to the sun. See, this is the radius vector, R. The radius vector drawn from the planet to the sun sweeps out or describes equal areas in equal intervals of time. As the planet moves, this radius vector describes areas, and that area described is equal in equal intervals of time. Area is equal in equal intervals of time means the rate of change of area is constant or aerial velocity is a constant. Radius vector drawn from the sun to the planet sweeps equal areas in equal intervals of time. That is, aerial velocity is a constant. So what is aerial velocity? Rate of change of area. It is a constant. Aerial velocity nothing but rate of change of area. Area described in unit time. That is aerial velocity. It remains constant. This is second law. Third law, law of periods, about the period of revolution of the planet around the sun. The square of the, what the law says? The square of the period of revolution of the planet around the sun is directly proportional to cube of the semi-major axis. A is semi-major axis. The major axis is 2a, so semi is half, that is A. The law says square of the time period of revolution of a planet around the sun is proportional to cube of the semi-major axis of that elliptical orbit. Period of revolution means time taken by the planet to complete one revolution is called period of revolution. That square of that period of revolution is proportional to cube of the semi-major axis. These are the three laws given by Kepler which explain the motion of the planet around the sun. Now to derive the second law, that is to show that aerial velocity of the planet is a constant. To derive the expression for second law, and we have to show that aerial velocity of the planet is a constant. For this, consider a planet of mass m revolving around the sun in the elliptical orbit. Say this is the radius vector. Now here we represent the radius vector at one instant. Let the planet be at one position. The radius vector is r. Line joining the planet to the sun. Radius vector is r. Let the planet moves to the position p dash in a time say delta t. In a small time delta t, the planet moves from p to p dash through a distance delta r vector, through a very small distance delta r vector, so that the radius vector sp dash is r vector plus delta r vector. Now this is the area described by the planet in a time delta t. The area covered by the planet is in a time delta t is given by this area enclosed by this triangle. The triangle SPP dash. Area of this triangle gives the area covered by the planet in a time delta t. Here mass of the planet is m. Let capital M be mass of the sun. Now the force existing between, force of attraction between the planet and the sun, it is gravitational force of attraction. Newton's universal law of gravitation. What it says, that force of attraction is minus gmm by r square r cap. So central force, it's a central force acting towards the center, minus sign. What it indicates, it is acting towards the center means is the attractive force between the planet and the sun. Let the equation be 1. As the planet revolves in its path, it experiences acceleration. So force due to that acceleration is F is ma. That is m into what is acceleration? Rate of change of velocity, dv vector by dt. So that we can equate these two. Both are forces. So equating 1 and 2, we get this. Equate 1 and 2. Small m gets cancelled. dv vector by dt equal to minus gm by r square r cap. That is dv vector by dt equal to minus gm by, one rearrangement here, into r by r. Multiply and divide by r. So that this part, this expression becomes minus gm by r cube. 1 r here means r cube, 1 r in the numerator, r cap. What's r cap? R vector. So that dv vector by dt is minus gm by r cube into r vector. R cap is r vector. Now, further simplification. Now let us take the cross product of both sides with r. Cross product from the left. Taking cross product on both sides from left. That's r cross d vector by dt equal to minus gm by r cube into r vector cross r vector. Gm by r cube is a constant. So this r vector cross r vector, it is taken with r like this. Then what is r cross r? Again 0. r sin theta, theta 0. So r cross r is 0. So right hand side is 0. So that r vector cross dv vector by dt 0, or position vector is independent of time. Velocity depends on time. Position vector is independent of time. So you can take that inside. So this can be written as d by dt of r cross v, that equal to 0. d by dt r cross v 0 means what it says? This term should be constant. This is possible only when this term is constant. So that r cross v is a constant. What is v? dr by dt. Rate of change of position. So this one also written as r cross dr vector by dt is a constant. And again, some changes here. Without altering the actual value, we write this as 2 into half. What's the change? There is no change. It is written as 2 into half r vector cross dr vector by dt. Actually, there is no change, just its form is changed into 2 divided by 2. So we write this one as this, and we take it as 3. So 2 into half r vector cross dr vector by dt is a constant. Now suppose, see here, there the planet is moving from P to P dash. As I told, it describes, it covers the area this. So now the area covered delta A is nothing but area enclosed by this triangle. What's the triangle? SP P dash. So delta A vector, area of the triangle SP P dash, it is, what's the formula? Half into base into height. Area of the triangle is half into base into height. Base is r, height is delta r. Then from this we get aerial velocity. Aerial velocity is dA vector by dt. This area covered in a small time delta t. Delta A covered in a small time delta t. So that limit delta t tending to 0. Limit delta t tending to 0. Delta A vector by delta t is dA vector by dt, nothing but aerial velocity. It's given by limit delta t tending to 0, half r cross delta r vector. And that is dA vector by dt. See, delta r by delta t, sorry. This is delta r vector by delta t. That is dA vector by dt. This one is dA vector by dt half r cross. Limit delta t tends to 0 means this delta r vector by delta t becomes dr vector by dt. Limit delta t tending to 0, half into r vector cross delta r vector by delta t. So delta r by delta t becomes dr by dt with the limit delta t tending to 0. So that we get dA vector by dt equal to half r cross dr vector by dt. Let the equation be 4. Now 3 and 4. Compare 3 and 4. Here half r cross dr vector by dt. What is it? dA vector by dt. Substituting this 4 in 3. Substitute 4 in 3. We get 2 dA vector by dt is a constant. 2 dA by dt is a constant means 2 however a constant. So that dA by dt is a constant. dA by dt constant means aerial velocity is a constant. Thus the second law of planetary motion. This is how the second law of planetary motion is proved. That is aerial velocity of the planet is a constant. What it says? The second law says the area described by the planet is equal in equal intervals of time. This is about Kepler's laws of planetary motion. With this, we have come to the end of that unit 1. So let us start the new unit in the next class. With this, I stop here. Thank you.